September 2022. Barcelona are 1.35 billion euros in debt. They've just lost Messi. They've been humiliated in the Champions League for the first time in 21 years. And in the middle of all this chaos, Xavi Hernandez does something that makes absolutely no sense. He walks down to La Masia, finds a 15-year-old in the U19S, and pulls him up to train with the first team. That kid was Lamine Yamal. Everyone frowned at it. The executives told him, "We need results, not projects." But Xavi didn't care, because after 1 week of watching this boy train, he said something that made everyone think he'd lost his mind.
Yeah, because we are brave also to put them on the pitch, but they deserve to play.
But to understand how insane this prediction was, you need to understand what Barcelona looked like when Xavi found him, and why almost everyone at the club wanted to stop him. Before the world knew his name, Barcelona was a club in crisis. The entire institution was collapsing, and the board's solution was to get creative with spending. In the summer of 2022, Barcelona somehow activates economic levers, selling future revenue to spend now. Rafinha, 58 million euros. Robert Lewandowski, 45 million euros. Jules Koundé, 50 million euros. Over 150 million euros spent while still drowning in debt. But Xavi Hernandez, the club legend who'd returned as manager in November 2021, saw something the board didn't. The solution wasn't in the transfer market, it was already at the club. September 2022. While the board scrambled to sign proven players, Xavi walked down to La Masia, Barcelona's famed academy, and pulled a 15-year-old from the U19S Lamine Yamal. The reaction inside the club was immediate. Executives said, "We can't afford experiments, we need results now." Scouts said, "He's talented, but he's 15, let him develop." Even some players were skeptical. A kid training with Lewandowski, Busquets, Pedri. But Xavi didn't care, because Xavi had seen something in training. Something he'd only seen twice before in his entire career. Once with Andres Iniesta, once with Lionel Messi. After 1 week of training with the first team, Xavi said this: "In every session, we made bets on who would be the best player. Almost always, it was him." This was a 15-year-old, outplaying professionals every single day. Then Xavi said something even more outrageous. He did special things you'd only see from Neymar or Messi. Things you'd only see from the two greatest attacking players of a generation. That's an extraordinary thing to say about a child who hasn't kicked a ball in a professional match. But Xavi didn't say it to the press. Not yet. He kept it inside the building, kept training him, kept watching, kept believing, quietly, privately, while everyone around him was demanding he focus on the proven players, the expensive signings, the immediate results. The board wanted a quick fix. Xavi was building something they couldn't see yet. April 29th, 2023. Barcelona versus Real Betis. La Liga title race. 6 games left. The score is 4-0. The game is done. 83rd minute. Xavi makes a substitution. A boy walks to the touchline. Shirt number 41. 15 years, 9 months, and 16 days old. He steps onto the pitch. The youngest player to debut for Barcelona since 1922. A record that had stood for over a century. Planet Football. 8 minutes, that's all he gets. First touch, receives under pressure, turns. Second, drops deep, plays it through a gap 2 defenders didn't see. Then, 5 minutes in, he picks the ball up on the left, drives at goal, forces a save from the goalkeeper. 89th minute. He picks up the ball 40 yards out and plays a stunning pass to Dembélé. 8 minutes. Shot on target, defense-splitting pass. Camp Nou on its feet. After the match, Xavi faces the press. The question, was this just a moment? A reward for a talented kid? Xavi's response, "I told him to try things and he did. At 15 years old, imagine it. He is special, he could have scored, he played with confidence. He showed what he is about, he has no fear." No fear. That phrase again, the same thing Xavi had been saying privately inside the training ground for months. Now he's saying it to the world. But the world still isn't sure. It's one cameo, 4-0 up. 10-man opposition, easy minutes at the end of a decided game. Anyone can look good in those circumstances. So Xavi keeps building the case. Preseason 2023, Joan Gamper Trophy, Barcelona versus Tottenham. This isn't a walkover. Spurs score twice and lead 2-1 with 10 minutes left. The crowd is nervous. The atmosphere is flat. Xavi sends Yamal on. He has been on the pitch for 2 minutes when he provides the assist for the equalizer. FC Barcelona. Then he's involved again. A brilliant individual move leaves Spurs defense scrambling. He picks out Torres, who feeds Fati for the winner. 3 goals in 10 minutes. Barcelona win the Gamper. Yamal had been on the pitch for less than a quarter of an hour. This is the pattern Xavi kept seeing. Every time he gave him the pitch, something happened. Not sometimes. Every time. And in April 2024, nearly a full season into his first team campaign, Xavi says the line that makes everything clear. He is a player that can mark an era in football, especially at Barcelona. Hopefully, we can always enjoy him at this level, mark an era, not have a good career, not become an important player, mark an era. But here's the thing, nobody noticed at the time. Every time Xavi praised him, every single press conference, he added the same qualifier, same words, same tone. It depends on him, his ambition, his passion. He wasn't just celebrating a talent, he was issuing a condition. Xavi understood something about what he'd unleashed. He'd given this boy the stage, and the stage was only going to get bigger. The question wasn't whether Yamal could handle the football. It was whether the world would let him breathe long enough to find out. Nobody was listening to that part yet. September 1st, 2023, Spain announced their squad for the Euro 2024 qualifiers. One name stops everyone, Lamine Yamal, 16 years and 50 days old. In the same squad as Rodri, Morata, Carvajal, players who'd won everything. And then this boy, still too young to drive a car, still registered with Barcelona's B team, called into the senior national team. The Spanish media asks the question everyone is thinking. Is this too soon? Is De La Fuente being reckless? September 8th, 2023, Spain versus Georgia, Euro qualifier. Yamal comes on in the 44th minute. 16 years and 57 days old. Spain's youngest senior international, ever breaking the record held by his own Barcelona teammate, Xavi. Then, 74th minute, Nico Williams races down the left, cross into the box. Yamal arrives at the far post and scores, 7-1. Spain's youngest goal scorer in history. Debut, goal, history. Same night. Back in Barcelona, Xavi watches and says nothing publicly. He doesn't need to. He'd already said it in training sessions, in press conferences, in quiet conversations with his staff. He knew, but here's what happens next that nobody talks about enough. By October 2023, Yamal is back at club level and the records keep coming. Youngest La Liga goal scorer in history. Youngest player ever to feature in El Clasico. Youngest Champions League starter ever. Every 3 days, a new milestone. And with every milestone, a new comparison. The same academy, the same club, the same right wing, both left-footed, and now the same shirt number, the number 10, previously worn by Messi, handed to Yamal before his first full season. The Messi comparison becomes impossible to avoid. And this is where Xavi says something that gets completely overlooked at the time. After a match against Athletic Bilbao, Xavi is asked about Yamal's development. His answer isn't just a compliment, it's a warning dressed as one. He has to take on the challenge of staying at the elite level for many years. Not celebrating, cautioning. Xavi had seen what that comparison costs. He'd played alongside Messi. He'd watched what happened when a club places the weight of an icon on a teenager's shoulders. Barcelona had done it once before, August 2019. Ansu Fati comes off the bench against Real Betis at 16 years old. Within weeks, he becomes the youngest scorer in La Liga. For the club, the next Messi. The heir. They give him the number 10 shirt before he'd even returned from injury, November 7th, 2020. Fati tears his meniscus. He is 18 years old. Barcelona rush his rehab, reportedly doubling his required physio sessions. His knee becomes inflamed. What follows is 4 operations in 6 months. Today, Ansu Fati is 23 years old, on loan at Monaco. Barcelona watched all of this happen, and then they did it again. same number on the shirt, same comparison in the press, same fixture schedule, same expectation, just a different name. Xavi saw it. He'd been inside this club his entire adult life. He understood the machine, the way Barcelona consumed young talent, celebrated it, burdened it, ran it into the ground, then looked for the next one. That's why every quote, every press conference, every public statement from Xavi about Yamal carries the same quiet weight underneath the praise. It depends on him, his ambition, his passion. He's telling Yamal, I can open the door, I can give you the stage, but I can't protect you from what comes next. The world was listening to the compliments. Nobody was listening to the warning. In the Champions League quarterfinal second leg this season, Barcelona need to overturn a 2-0 deficit away from home against Atletico Madrid, against Simeone. The task is almost impossible. 30 seconds into the match, Yamal picks up the ball, drives straight at the Atletico defense, and forces a save from the goalkeeper. 30 seconds. 4 minutes in, he wins the ball off Clément Lenglet, races onto a Ferran Torres pass, and rolls it through the goalkeeper's legs. 1-0. The Metropolitano goes silent. By halftime, Yamal had scored 1, created 3 big chances, and Barcelona had created 5 big chances in total. The tie was level, one of the most hostile atmospheres in European football. 2-0 down from the first leg, and an 18-year-old had dragged his team back from the edge by himself. Then Lookman scores. Eric Garcia gets a red card. 10 men. The comeback dies. Barcelona lose the tie 3-2 on aggregate. They're out. But here's the thing that stays with you after that night. In 8 minutes of added time, with 10 men, Flick throws Araujo up front. And the last image of Barcelona in this Champions League is Yamal, exhausted, outnumbered, still driving at defenders, still forcing a cross to the far post, still trying. Had they 2 of him, they win that tie, comfortably. This is who Lamine Yamal is now, not a prospect, not a wonder kid, not the next Messi, just the most decisive 18-year-old in world football. And it isn't particularly close. Last season, the critics had a number for him, 9 league goals. They said it wasn't enough for a Ballon d'Or. They said he was too young, too dependent on assists, too inconsistent when it mattered most. Guess what? This season, 15 goals and 27 La Liga appearances, 6 goals and 4 assists in the Champions League, 2 more in the Copa del Rey, and those are just the numbers you can count. He's already the youngest player in Champions League history to reach 20 goal contributions, breaking a record held by Erling Haaland. At 18, he's made over 100 La Liga appearances at a younger age than Raúl managed it. He's broken records held by players from 1922, from 1947, from 1994. Records that stood for decades, gone, one by one, before he's old enough to vote. But the records aren't the real story. The real story is what happens to Barcelona when he doesn't play. Messi only played 9 matches for Barcelona before turning 18. Yamal played 10 times that. And yet somehow, in every one of those matches, the question is the same. What does Barcelona look like without him? The answer is always uncomfortable, slower, flatter, less dangerous, less themselves. He's 18 years old, and he's already irreplaceable. That shouldn't be possible. The day after the Atletico exit, Yamal posted on Instagram, "We are Barca, and we will be back where we belong. My parents taught me that a man's word always has to be fulfilled. We'll bring it to Barcelona." No self-pity, no excuses, just a promise from an 18-year-old. And while the world is still processing all of it, the goals, the records, the performances, the maturity, there's one man who isn't surprised by any of it. He never was. In 2022, before a single professional minute, before any of the records, before Euro 2024 and the semi-final goal against France and the nights at the Metropolitano, Xavi Hernandez sat in a press conference and said it plainly. He's a chosen one. He could become one of the geniuses in football history. He said it like a man who had already seen the answer and was just waiting for the rest of the world to catch up. The world is catching up now. There's a version of this story where Yamal emerges slowly, where Barcelona manage him carefully, where the world discovers him gradually, over years, the way you're supposed to discover a generational talent. That's not what happened. Xavi threw him in at 15, trusted him at 16, called him a genius before the world knew his name, and then left the club before he got to see the full thing he built. But that's the thing about Xavi and Yamal. Xavi didn't need to see it. He already knew. Xavi saw that in 2022. Today, it's 2026. The debate isn't whether he was right anymore. The debate is how many Ballon d'Or we're talking about.